The economy more than any other issue is a huge factor for voters as the U.S. economy continues to take some serious hits. But what can people do on their own in a volatile economy, which is basically spreading to the world, the volatility from the United States? Joining me here in the studio is Dave Kaufman. He's the CEO of Voyant, which is a financial planning firm, a very interesting concept, basically a free service where people can become their own managers of their wealth or whatever little money they have online. So how does it work? How do you go on this website and sign up and start using this tool as your own financial planner?
It's simple. You just simply go to planwithvoyant.com, click the download and join button, and you get started. It's free, it's ad-based, there's some small ads, and we collect very little information, so you don't have to expose very much about yourself.
Now, you and I were talking before the show, and I told you, you have a lot of convincing to do if you were to convince me to put in my personal information in an anonymous website. How would you convince me? I'm unconvincible on this one.
I think the important thing to remember is that all we really need is a valid email address. We even tell people, please feel free to, not use your real name. Certainly we never ask for Social Security numbers. What we're about is financial planning. So we don't need anything that means, and never will we ask for those information, bank account information, things of the sort. We're here to help people build a plan to get them through tough times.
And speaking of tough times, take us through, for example, what we're looking at now. You say that you offer a different kind of tool because people can do what-if scenarios. Like, if I want to retire, how do I go to your website and what do I do?
I think it's simple. What you simply do is what we're looking at here is someone who's able to create their own personal events. Whatever they want to do, they can go to the system and they can put in what they're planning for. So in the case of retirement, in this case, we're looking at someone who says, here's my current condition. What if I wanted to retire a couple of years earlier? How early can I retire? You simply drag an icon and the system quickly recalculates to say, here's what happens when you retire earlier. In this case, because there's very little red, we're still in very good shape. The system is very simple to show you when it is you're going to have financial shortfalls and at what points in your life you might want to be concerned about making some different financial decisions.
Now, why did you come up with this idea?
Well, we had actually worked with financial service companies of all sizes for years and years. And what we decided was that they needed a new paradigm which to work with consumers. Too much information was hidden from the consumer. Too much, the consumer just didn't have enough control to see what was important to them and what they needed to do. So we built a new platform by which the consumer can sort of really engage and build for themselves.
How are you making money, though? You mentioned a little bit it's ad-based. It's a free service, but I'm sure that you're making money.
Well, we're hoping to make money. That's the goal. And so the goal of that is we actually, there's ads built into the system. And what we also have by which people can connect to the financial service industry, to financial planners who use a product called Voyant Advisor, and they can connect to them and say, I built my plan, I need some help with it. Can you give me some suggestions? And they can connect that way. So Voyant Advisor is actually licensed by financial professionals. So in a sense, the financial service industry is paying for this free service between the ads and the Voyant Advisor subscriptions that they're using.
So you're not going to be pushing somebody's services?
No, we actually are. We don't, not one company in particular. We are open to all companies out there who want to get in there. And what we do is we even ask people to come in, and there's a community built into it that people can actually discuss these issues amongst each other and recommend different advisors and talk about different strategies for solving problems.
One final question. For everyone in the United States and our international viewers, the volatility in the U.S. economy, huge concern. What would you advise people to do? Could they use your tool also?
I think it's an important thing to do is to plan. I think in any time we're looking at uncertain times, especially in volatility, new things coming like inflation, it's great to sit down and plan and say, what if I get laid off? What if we have higher inflation than we expected to do? And I think what that does is it's a calming effect that allows people to deal with these situations and know that if something does happen, they have a plan in place for it.
What are you planning to do?
Well, what I'm planning to do is actually, it's funny, I've actually planned myself, and most of what I've planned to do is in place that says, one, pay off debt. It's a great time to pay off debt. And then two, sit tight and things always level out.
But if you're not making money or if you're laid off, how are you going to pay off debt?
Well, that's a good strategy. That's the idea that the balance is. I think the important point is now is a great time to pay off debt before if those things might happen. Because certainly debt is one of those things that puts people into foreclosure. I mean, home mortgages, everything we have going on right now, these are people who are trying to deal with debt. If they resolve those issues before that bad thing happens, they're in pretty good shape.
All right, Dave Kaufman, thank you so much
for
being with us. And now let's turn to the weather.